Right here. Front. Oh. Front left.
Hi. Jerry DePaula, Pittsburgh Trib Total Media. John, the obvious question is your feelings coming home to coach in your hometown, but I'm also interested in the Pitt recruiting class of 1988. Miller, Matthews, Martin.
I have a picture in my office in Kentucky that I'll put out. I'll take a picture of it and send it out so you can get it. It's all those guys, and they've all stayed in touch. What a great group.
How were you able to get all of them to come at one time, and do you regret not getting to coach them?
Sean was like family. Darrell always wanted to come. Matter of fact, we signed him before he took an official visit. Now, he was from the city. Bobby wanted to come to Pitt. Boom, boom. Brian Shorter I'd known since he was, and Jason Matthews wanted to come to Pittsburgh. And I went to L.A. and Paul Evans did a great job recruiting him too. Now, he was the head coach, but that was an interesting. Let me tell you why. Just listen to him. How many of you are from Pittsburgh? Yins, downtown. I mean, come on. The crick. We had a crick in our backyard. My mom used to say, "Red up." Like red up. What is red up? Like clean up. Red up. Do you know what a gum band is? Like a rubber band? It was gum band. Pop? I never knew. They said, "Are you going to have a soda?" What the hell? What are you talking about? Pop? I mean, let me say this about Pittsburgh. When I grew up, it was a blue collar town. But it's never changed the roots of what Pittsburgh is and what it's about. The Steelers are still I call them the Stillers, as in Pittsburgh Stillers. They're still a blue-collar team with fans who love them. And like where I grew up, my high school teammates are still my best friends. They still come to games, and they will, and they say, anyway. But we were all brought up the same way. Our fathers were laborers. Mom raised us and put hope and dreams, and you can be whatever. That was Mom. But we were all the same. It was a melting pot. And, you were taught there's nothing in this world is going to be given to you. You're going to have to go take what you want, and if you don't work, you will not eat. That was the famous line. You don't work, you're not eating. You work. You better, if you want to be better than somebody, you better work. That's Pittsburgh. And it was the greatest thing. And I think sometimes anybody that's been here and left knows that's what it is. And also yins and down, all the others. How about this word? Jag-off. Come on, where else do you say jag-off other than Pittsburgh? And when I say it, they go, "Oh my, did you hear what it just said?" And in Pittsburgh, that's like in passing. So, no, I appreciate that. And I love coming back. I'll probably take the tour of my grandparents' house and my other grandparents and our house where I grew up in the high school and my aunts and uncles and cousins. And I normally come back and I do the whole drive and, but special place. I called Mike Tomlin. Why don't you come in and talk to the team? Mike and I are friends. He's in a pro day somewhere. Can't do it. But special place.
Front right.
Jeff Nyberg, Philadelphia Inquirer. You've had a number of guys over the years who've been in a similar situation of DJ and Justin coming in, top recruit, projected NBA lottery pick. How do you think they've managed those pressures and expectations?
I think they've done great. I mean, my job is to help them walk through this. And at the end of the day is I just want them being their best. And when I'm with them every day, I know what that looks like. But when they're playing against other guys, they know what it looks like too. Most of it for young guys, and again, I've got the youngest team in the field, I would tell you is the mental part of this. Can you be a cheerleader for yourself? What is your inner talk? They have to learn that. You have to push out anything that's coming at you negative. Anybody is telling you, well, if they did this and did that, it doesn't help. Both of them. The DJ being hurt and sitting out 2.5 weeks really affected him. He's come back. He's better. He's back to where he was. He was the freshman of the week 4 times, and then he took 2.5 weeks off, and it's taken him time. Justin, I could not be more proud of any player I've ever coached. To know where he was, to know the expectations that were on his shoulders, to know all the stuff he was hearing. And I said, Justin, I just want you to know I believe in you. And he said, Coach, I want you to know I believe in you, and I'm sticking with this. And then he makes it. We don't win at Tennessee if he doesn't play that way. Now, here's the thing with all guys, they're not machines and they're not robots. They have bad games and they have bad nights, and it's what they are. The good thing about this team I'm coaching is we have a deep team. For a couple years, if 1 or 2 players played poorly, I didn't have subs. You left them in and you end up losing. And I'm not just talking the NCAA Tournament, other games. With this group, if these 2 or 3 are not playing well, just play these 5 or 6, and we'll run with them. And they know it. We've had, I believe it's 7 guys had 25 or more points, and 9 or 10, or maybe even 11, have had 13 points or more. We got that kind of team, but we're really young. And then your next question, someone would, for Pittsburgh, Yins don't play very good defense. That will be your question to me. At times, Yins do play good defense. And there are other times you're like, what are you thinking? But I'm loving coaching this team. I mean, it's practice today, and all I'm telling them is, you make sure I'm having as much fun as you. So we'll see. And there's no guarantee in this tournament. And let me say to everybody, forget about seed and all that stuff. If you win on a half-court bank shot by 1, you celebrate because you're surviving and marching on. That's what this tournament is. You don't let everybody come at you. You got to do this. You have to do this. If they don't do it this way, go ahead. Have your fun. This is about survive and advance. And we're playing a good team now in Oakland. They're good. What they do defensively, what they can do offensively with 2 kids taking 23s every game and having the freedom. Greg is a great coach, not a good coach, a great coach, and then they play funky defense. They play a defense is not normal. And I'll tell Greg, we're not changing much. So when you watch what we do against zone, that's what we do. I'm not trying to be tricky. Here's how we play. I don't want them thinking too much. I want them playing. Let's just be who we are, and let's see if that's good enough.
We got a question, middle back.
Yeah, John, Darryl Burr with Cat's Paws in Lexington. It feels like when you guys have a lead, there's a lot of passing, a lot of up-tempo, and when you're behind, there's more dribbling, more 1-on-5. How can you make the team
to get
keep
behind
playing?
Or when we're behind?
When you're behind. How do you get them to keep playing the other way?
Reed Shepard said to me, Coach, I'm not sure we're selfish, but I think we have so many good players. Each guy's trying to get us back in the game himself, and we're just not as good when we play that way. Now, we talk about it, but there's game slippage, and they revert back to their habits sometimes, and that's both on offense and defense. Look, I've had video. We did highlights to show them here's when we're at our best. Here's when we're not. And most of that is we hold the ball. But they're not robots. They're not machines. They don't play. There's stuff that you're teaching that they miss on. You talk about the pressure of this tournament. It's on everybody. You got more than anybody else, and Reed has more than any. No, it's on everybody. And how you deal with it is how have you done throughout the year when you're down? Have you ever been down 36 minutes and came back and won the last 4? Have you been up? They make a run and you got to make another run. All that stuff adds up to the experience a young team like ours needed.
Middle aisle right here.
Will Graves, AP. Yins don't play good defense.
Where are you from?
I'm not from here. I work here, but I'm not from here. I covered you a long time ago.
Where at?
In Lexington.
Okay.
And obviously, I made an impression. Okay. Anyway.
Do you paint your hair? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So it's okay. You talked eloquently about the blue collar. If you don't work, you don't eat. You have players, highly talented, skilled players that come in, and your program has the best of everything. I mean, that's the way that it is. How do you instill that blue collar, work ethic that you need to win with these kids? And I'm not saying they're not spoiled, but they're certainly well taken care of.
Well, most of them are fighting for their families. That's why you come to Kentucky. Can I do some humble brag up here?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's your show.
So 70% of the players who accept a scholarship with us get drafted. 70%. Of that, 73% get to second contracts. The guys in the league right now have made over $4 billion. And when you talk Bam, Maxey, Devin, De'Aaron, Shea's going to make 400. I mean, it'll be $6 billion in the next 2 years. You come to Kentucky to prepare yourself for the rest of your life. You don't come for NIL, even though you saw our managers got NIL deals. So yeah, it's all neat, but that ain't why you come. And you learn to be a great teammate. You know why? You got to share. You're not going to be told you're going to start, how many minutes, how many shots. That's why there are kids that will never come here, because sometimes they think there's an easier path. There is no easy path. And these kids live in the gym. We have a machine called a Noah machine that's over top our baskets. Ours is a training facility, not really a basketball practice facility. It's a training facility. When they walk in, their face recognition, we all know how many shots they've taken, when they're missing, why are they missing, and they come in there and they live in there. Tyler Hero lived in the gym. He lived in there. So did Shea. They were, again, fighting for their families. And in these kind of tournaments, they understand you're fighting for each other. You fight for each other. You do this together. But, if anybody comes here and then tries to get soft, you don't play. And the guys that live in the gym that played for me, those guys, the Michael Kidds, the Anthony Davises, those guys, the Brandon Knights, I can go on and on. Living in the gym, they're the ones that busted through. Most of it, they made it happen. We have a stage for you to go show what you are. But they've got to do it. I tell them all the time, I don't have a magic wand. It isn't that. It's the culture. It's the process. It's being a great teammate. How about this? Why would good players want to play together when they know they have to share? Because really good players want to play with other really good players. If you're not so good, you want to be the main guy until they play boxing 1, triangle 2, and every defense is stop. I'm not having any fun. Yeah. It's hard when they're looking at you and saying, we're stopping you. Hard to do when you have a full team. I don't know if that makes sense. Was that even what you asked me? No, okay.
Right middle.
Coach Cal, Bailey Tucker, College Basketball Review. You guys were knocked out of the SEC tournament pretty quickly to Texas A&M. What is your message to your team to try to bounce back off that loss and make a run here in the tournament?
A lot of teams got beat early in their tournament. We just happened to be one of them. So let's go. We got more rest. I took them bowling. We went bowling. Who was the best bowler we had? Everybody said Antonio because they know he bowls. He didn't. It was Trey. Trey never told anybody he was a bowler. Bowled over 200. We split him up and let him compete and laugh and eat. And let's regroup and get back after it. I mean, you won't believe this. There are teams, and sometimes it seems to be against us, the team plays their absolute best game against us. And you lose, but you learn from it. You win or you learn. We learn. We move on, and let's go. And me being the coach, probably at my age now hurts me more, and it takes me a little more time to get over it. But when it's done, it's done. I move on, and let's go. My job right now is to just, every year, make sure they're playing their best basketball in March. Second thing is take it off them, take it on your own shoulders, let them be young players and let them play and have fun. And the third thing is to make sure they're focused about being together and connected. So, but I'm not the only coach doing that. It's every coach trying to do. They want their team in March to be at their best.
Back middle.
John, Darrell Bird again. I know you talked a lot about Pittsburgh, but I'm curious, you personally, growing up in the 60s and 70s, some of your favorite memories, any of the Pittsburgh professional athletes you kind of idolized or anything like that?
Yeah, and you know, we were Steeler fans. I never got to. Somebody said, "Did you go to a hockey game?" Where were we getting the money to go to a hockey game or the Steeler game? My Uncle Joe had 2 tickets for his whole life when no one was going, so he kept them. And I think I got to go to a Steeler game 1 or 2 times with him. And the Pirates, everybody went to opening day and mobbed Three Rivers Stadium. To be 60,000, and the next game there'd be 3,000. And I don't know how I got in there, but my memories, the Immaculate Reception, you know, which is a ball hit against the Oakland Raiders that, you know, I mean, I was a Bill Mazeroski fan all the time. You know, Forbes Field, which is up in Oakland, they have the plate still there, and he hits the home run to beat the Yankees. Clint Hurdle and I were great friends. Mike and I have been great friends. So I get to come up here and, you know, really watch and do it. And my high school team made the playoffs for the first time in 30 years. Moon High School, that was a big deal. And Newcastle beat us. Made me mad. But, you know, none of us had much, but we never did without. I mean, I'm not trying to say I walked uphill on the way and on the way back. I mean, it's what it was in Western PA. But I wouldn't want to be with where I was, the way we never had a credit card. Anybody ever do layaway here? You do layaway? Okay. That's how we got Christmas. They laid it away for 4 or 5 months. We did layaway for furniture. Like, that's just how it was. Mom and Dad weren't going to have a credit card. We weren't going to owe anybody. So I don't have a credit card. Yes, I do, but I'll just say that.
We only have time for a few quick questions. Last question. So we got one right here. You could go since you have the mic, and then right there in the right middle. And then, yeah, I give you the okay. So 3 quick ones here. So starting right here with the mic left here. Yep.
Shelby Cassasi, WPXI. John, you haven't really coached in Pittsburgh since the 80s, but it's very clear that your passion for the area and love for the area is still very real.
My time at Pitt was special for me. It's when I first got my first full-time job. You know, Coach Chipman hired me. Coach Evans kept me. And then I got hired by a school that I don't think anybody wanted the job. That's why I got it, UMass. But yes, I do. And Pitt is special to me.
So what about your roots here just continue to be so important to you all these years later?
It's where I grew up. It's where, you know, my dad is no longer here. My mother passed away in November of 2010. But my sisters aren't here, but I have aunts and uncles and cousins and family and friends. And my teammates, some of them live around here. You know, Pittsburgh is just, how can I say, it's such a small city. It's just not like a city. And you have areas, north side, south side. You know, you have out in Aliquippa, you have a different, it's a melting pot of everybody. My dad worked at J&L Steel for a while. My family worked with A&S Railroad and American Bridge and all that. They went through that. My dad worked near the blast furnace. Said he had to stop, and he ended up going to the airport working for Allied Aviation, which fueled the planes, because he said if I stayed there, I was going to die. I was near the he's losing 10 pounds a day. But you're feeding your family. You want your children to have a better life than you had. That's what Pittsburgh was and is. I love going to the Steeler game and seeing the fans. They're like my neighbors. They're, and probably put up a lot of money to get tickets, and they go and they are, sometimes it's like Kentucky fans. They are engaged, and if Mike loses, they're engaged. It's how it is. I mean, with those that's why I love the fans at Kentucky. A good friend of mine said to me, look, everything has become negative. You can't talk to each other anymore. Now it becomes, what's the nastiest thing in saying? That's why I just say to my team and myself, I got to just ignore and know it's where things are, but I'm not going to let it affect me and how I do my job, because I've got people's children. Their precious child, I'm coaching them. So I've got to stay focused and try to get them to stay focused. Last one, you notice my answers are short, but
Out of respect to all the other teams, this is the last one right here.
We just talked with Brooke Pryor, ESPN. We were just talking with Greg Campy, your good friend, before you came in here, and he was pretty strong in advocating for the tournament to not expand with some of the proposals on the table. What are your thoughts on that? And does it dawn on you that this could be the last time that there are 68 teams in the field and it could be even bigger next year?
I hope it stays where it is. You know, I know people get mad. They get mad at the committee. You won't believe this. I've been mad at that committee a few times. But you may be mad because of your seed or where they shipped you to. I've said go to the S curve the whole way down. Then you just rank them 1 through 68 and go like that. Well, we can't because of this and leagues and all that. But it doesn't matter who the committee is. We're all going to be upset. You know who's going to be upset now, and I love it? Football coaches. Because it don't matter that it was 4 and there are 2 that are mad. Now they're going to how many? So they're going to be 18 that are mad. And it's part of the NCAA tournament, not getting in, bad seed, good seed. And I always say this, when you give a good team a bad seed, it's not them you're screwing. It's everybody they play that shouldn't have to play that team that early. And so it's part of what it is. Let's keep it, it's too good a thing. It's the event. Like, you could tell I'm excited about coaching in this. Yeah, I'm excited about being home, but they could have sent us to Spokane. I already talked to Mark Few. I was going to stay at his house, watch his dogs. I was good if they sent us there. But here, I'm trying to make sure what I did today at practice. I had a bunch of friends at practice. They saw it. I wasn't looking. I was practicing. Got to take some pictures. Done. Now we play a game. This is a business trip for me. And I'll say everybody that's in this thing, I would say they'd say the same thing. Keep it where it is. Don't mess with something that's great. And the committee literally don't care. Whoever's on it's going to get the same grief that this group got, the last group got. It's what it is. No science to this. You're going to make some mistakes.
Thanks,
Thank
Coach.
you.
Appreciate your time.